Imagine a world without a familiar sound, the ring of a telephone. This simple device changed everything. It connected voices across vast distances. But what if it never happened? What if Alexander Graham Bell did not invent it in 1876? This is a journey into that alternate past, a past where silence held a different meaning. We explore this fascinating possibility, a world reliant on older ways. The year is 1876, a pivotal moment in communication history. Bell receives his patent, the telephone is born. Or is it? History is not always a straight line. Many minds often chase similar dreams. The idea of sending voices over wires was in the air, a collective hum of innovation. If not Bell, then who? This question opens up a universe of possibilities. Science marches on, often on many fronts at once. Alexander Graham Bell was not alone. Other brilliant minds were wrestling with the same problem: how to make electricity carry the human voice. Antonio Meucci, an Italian immigrant in America. He demonstrated a talking telegraph years before Bell. He called it the teletrofono. Financial hardship prevented him from securing a full patent, a story of near misses and what might have been. His work was a significant step. Then there was Philipp Reis, a German physicist. He built a device that could transmit musical notes and some muffled speech. He called his invention the telephone. Reis demonstrated his device to many scientists, but it was considered more of a toy. It didn't reproduce clear speech consistently, yet his experiments pushed the boundaries. He was so close to the breakthrough. Without the telephone, the telegraph would reign supreme. For much longer than it did in our timeline. Telegraphy was already a mature technology. Samuel Morse's invention had revolutionized long-distance communication. Dots and dashes carried urgent news. They connected businesses and governments. This system would have become even more sophisticated. More lines would crisscross the globe. Faster transmission speeds would be sought. Imagine telegraph offices bustling with even more activity. Operators skilled in Morse code would be in high demand. Their fingers would fly, translating messages into electrical pulses. Companies would invest heavily in improving telegraph infrastructure. Perhaps multiplexing telegraphy would advance faster, sending multiple messages over a single wire, or automatic telegraph machines, reducing human error. The innovation would focus solely on this existing marvel. The economic impact would be significant. Businesses would rely entirely on written, coded messages. This meant delays in decision-making. Misinterpretations could arise from terse telegraphic messages. The nuance of a spoken conversation would be lost. Fortunes could be made or lost based on the speed of a telegram. Business operations would feel a significant drag. Without the telephone, quick consultations are impossible. Imagine a stockbroker needing urgent information. He would send a telegram, then wait for a reply. This delay could mean missed opportunities, or substantial financial losses. Banking transactions would also be slower. Verifying large transfers or creditworthiness would take more time. The pace of the entire economy would be more deliberate. The very structure of companies might differ. More reliance would be placed on local managers. Centralized control from a distant headquarters would be harder. Written correspondence would be the primary method. This would create vast archives of letters and memos. The need for skilled clerks and secretaries would increase. These individuals would manage the flow of information. Business deals would require more face-to-face meetings. Travel expenses would be higher. Consider industries like newspapers and shipping. Reporters would file stories via telegraph. This was already common, but follow-up questions or clarifications would be slow. Shipping companies coordinating vessels across oceans. They would rely on telegraphic updates from ports. Scheduling and logistics would be a more complex puzzle. The just-in-time delivery concepts of later eras? Unthinkable. Section 5. Cities and Crises. A different urban pulse. Urbanization was a defining feature of the late 19th century. People flocked to cities for work and opportunity. Without telephones, managing these growing urban centers would be harder. City administrators coordinating services like water, sanitation, and transport would rely on messengers and telegraphs. This could lead to slower responses to problems. A broken water main might take longer to report and fix. The pulse of the city would be less responsive. Emergency services would be profoundly affected. Imagine a fire breaking out. Someone would have to run to the nearest fire alarm box, or to the fire station itself. Precious minutes would be lost. In medical emergencies, summoning a doctor quickly would be difficult. The telegraph was not ideal for such urgent, localized needs. Lives that could have been saved by a quick phone call might be lost. This would be a stark reality. The development of police forces would also be different. Coordinating police officers across a city would be challenging. Responding to crimes in progress would be slower. Detectives investigating cases would rely on legwork and telegrams. Check 1, check 2, check. Section 6. The delayed dawn of digital dreams, future tech on hold. The invention of the telephone was a crucial stepping stone. It spurred research into electronics and signal processing. Without it, the path to future technologies would be different. Consider the vacuum tube. Its development was accelerated by the needs of telephony, amplifying weak telephone signals over long distances. Without this pressure, vacuum tube technology might advance more slowly. This would delay the birth of radio. Radio, as we know it, emerged from experiments with wireless telegraphy, but also from the desire to transmit voice wirelessly. If voice transmission over wires was still a dream, the impetus for wireless voice might be weaker. The development of broadcasting could be set back by decades. Imagine a world where Marconi's wireless telegraphy is the peak. No radio dramas, no news broadcasts filling the airwaves. The 20th century would sound very different. And what about the digital revolution? The transistor, a successor to the vacuum tube, is the heart of all modern electronics. Section 7. Human bonds and new horizons, social shifts reimagined. Personal relationships would retain an older character. Letters would be the main way to stay in touch over distances. The joy of receiving a handwritten letter, the anticipation of waiting for news. These experiences would be central to long-distance friendships and romances. But the immediacy of a loved one's voice? That would be a rare luxury if available at all. The emotional texture of relationships would be different, less spontaneous, perhaps more formal. The telephone created new job opportunities, particularly for women, as telephone operators. This was a significant shift in the workforce. It offered women a path into the burgeoning world of technology and commerce. Without the telephone exchange, these specific jobs wouldn't exist. Women's entry into the paid workforce might take different routes, or it might be slower in certain sectors. The social landscape of employment would be altered. Section 8. The persistent hum of innovation, the drive to connect. Human beings are driven to connect. It is a fundamental part of our nature. From ancient signifiers to the printing press, we have always sought ways to bridge distances, to share thoughts, news, and emotions. The late 19th century was a period of explosive scientific progress. The principles needed for the telephone were being uncovered. Electricity, magnetism, acoustics, these fields were ripe with potential. Even if Bell had not made his breakthrough, or if Meucci, Race, or Gray had faced insurmountable obstacles, the idea of transmitting voice was too compelling. It would have continued to attract inventors and scientists. The problem would have been gnawed at from different angles by different minds. Someone, somewhere, would have eventually found a solution. The scientific zeitgeist was pointing in that direction. It was a puzzle waiting to be solved. The rapid advancements in other areas show this. Think of electric lighting, the phonograph, the automobile. All emerged around the same fertile period. Innovation was not confined to a single individual. It was a collective endeavor, fueled by curiosity, competition, and commercial opportunity. The telegraph itself was a testament to this drive. It solved one part of the communication puzzle. Section 9. An inevitable invention, the unsilenced future. So, what if Bell didn't invent the telephone in 1876? The world would have felt the delay. Business would adapt, but more slowly. Cities would cope, but with greater challenges. Our path to the modern connected age would be longer. The internet, mobile phones, instant global communication, all these might have arrived later. The 20th century would have unfolded at a different tempo, a tempo dictated by dots, dashes, and written words. Yet the silence would not have lasted forever. The chorus of other inventors was already tuning up. Meucci, Race, Gray, they were on the cusp. The fundamental science was in place. The societal need was growing stronger each day. The telephone was an idea whose time had definitively come. Someone would have connected the dots, or, in this case, connected the voices. The lure of such a powerful tool was too great to ignore. The story of invention is rarely about a lone genius. It is often about a convergence of ideas, a culmination of efforts by many. Bell's achievement was monumental, but it stood on the shoulders of giants and alongside other brilliant contemporaries. The human drive to overcome barriers is powerful, especially barriers to communication. We yearn to reach out, to share, to connect.